Hello, welcome to Studio Talks. My name's James Swift.
I'm Josh McNorton, and our guest today is...
It's Andrew Rogerson, but people will call me Splodge.
Hey, Splodge, you okay?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm doing okay.
Alright, yeah.
Good.
How are you doing in the lockdown? And do you have any advice for people?
I'm doing all right because I've been working throughout the whole thing.
Right.
So it gets me out of the house, but I have been the only one in work. So it's kind of been lonely from that point of view. Pretty miserable, really, when there's no one to talk to or interact with. So I've been all right. But, I mean, I was thinking about this, my advice, and I had a phone call yesterday to my son who lives in LA, and they've been in full lockdown over there. And he admitted to me yesterday that the last couple of weeks has really got to him, and he'd been really angry. So I thought that's it. I'm glad really glad he told me that. So that is my advice: try and talk to someone. Tell them if you're feeling angry. If you're having a tearful day, I don't know whether you've had any tearful days. I've had them, and I just say to everyone, I'm going to be crying a lot today.
I haven't had tearful days. I've had days where I'm like, I can't be bothered. Like, I'm just going to stay in bed. I've literally had days where I'm just going to stay in bed all day.
Just some days you just wake up, you're like, I'm done already.
It's just been bizarre, hasn't it? It's because nobody knows really what we're supposed to do or how to behave. Like, we're not meant to behave like this anyway. Social beings, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
What's your history with the studio?
From the beginning, really. I'm quite proud to say that we were using the studio before it was even a studio. Don't know whether you know the sort of history of the building. It used to be attached to the Queen's Hall, and I'm sure that you know that.
Yeah.
But when we were involved, it was as a theatre company called TAD Theatre Company. We used to do quite a bit, especially in the Queen's Hall. So we used to rehearse in the studio, and at the time it was more like a sports hall. It was all marked out for five-a-side, basketball, that kind of thing. And I don't know how or why, but people seem to be impressed with us. So they said, you can use it, and handed it over to us, and it became our rehearsal base. And they said, we're going to convert it into the studio. So we were there really from the beginning, and then it was still council-owned then. And then they turned it into the studio that you know today, until they closed the studio, and people like Jackie fought to keep it going as a studio in its own right. So obviously all of that time kind of council-owned, but we were the sort of, I don't know why the council seemed to like us and put a bit of faith in us. So that's how I became involved with the studio. As it is now, I'm involved because Greg, and we go back a long way with Jackie, but Greg and Lou are close friends. So as it is now, that's how we're involved. And I'm involved now with another sort of group of people. And we've started running a youth theatre there just before the lockdown.
So what's your history with music in general?
I'm not a musician. I kind of throw my hand in with people. So back in the day, going back to when the Queen's Hall was around, and we used to, as a theatre company, used to perform. And one of the things we did was used to go to the Edinburgh Festival. And one year we were there performing a play called 13, which all the publicity had gone wrong. We weren't in the Edinburgh handbook. So I was with a couple of guys who were musicians, got up on stage to try and promote the play at the Fringe Club. I had a tambourine and a kazoo and an egg shaker, and that was my musical input. But we were called Gordon's Dog, just a throw together band, and it was good fun. So we carried on, and that's how it. And then the Gordon's Dog sort of became a bigger band, and we became the Gordonaires, and rock and roll and sort of unusual covers. That's what we did. So that was, and when the theatre company split up, it was something artistic to throw your hand in with, just to keep your creative juices flowing. I like performing, really.
No, that's really interesting.
How was Chimp formed?
Greg Oldfield started a night up, and it used to be upstairs at the Ring of Bells, and he named it Earth Hum. It was a very good night, really good night. And the idea was that there was a room upstairs at the Ring of Bells pub. We would set up a back line and a drum kit, and then anyone who wanted to perform could have a slot. You just had, the only proviso was you had to do your own stuff. So I was playing a bit of double bass with a bluegrass band who happened to be on one night when another band called the Chimps, who were just Neil Holiday and Terry Lloyd. And it was just the two of them, and I thought they were brilliant. And I remember saying to Greg, got to get them back on again. And they wanted a double bass player. So next thing I get an old, do you remember the old cassettes? C90, get one of those through the door with a song called, I can't remember what it was called now, but a really quite a long song and the arrangement on it telling me what I had to play and when. We rehearsed and then we played it the next Hertham, and that's it. Once you're a chimp, you're always a chimp.
Oh, that's boss. I always wondered where it formed, because I've seen these a couple of times, but like I've always wondered, like, I wonder what the background of that is.
Yeah, it was just Neil and Terry, and honestly, they played a couple of songs that you thought, wow, this is good, this is original. The songwriting was good, the arrangements were, and they were singing with Scouse accents, which was great, and it was simple music. So it was, so I liked them, and I was a fan, and then it was really nerve-wracking, but to be asked to play it was good.
So how, because we asked this nearly every episode that we have like a musician on, we ask how they personally write songs, but we barely ask like, how do you write songs as a band? Because I feel like that's a different.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's a good one. This, because it has changed a bit. But you're talking about in Neil and Terry. Obviously, I'm in the band, so I'm going to be a bit biased. But I think in Neil and Terry, you've got two of the finest songwriters and lyricists that you could come across. They're both really witty people, and they're both good with words. So back when it was just Neil and Terry, I asked the same question to Neil once, and he said, well, what I do is I write a song with a tune in mind. It might be a Rolling Stones tune or something like that. I write the lyrics down. And he would hand it to Terry without telling him that tune. And then Terry would just put his own tune over that, see what he came up with. So that worked. And then Terry would do all the arranging of the songs and turn it round and say, we'll put this bit first. And since then, it's kind of, Neil's not as involved anymore. I used to be able to say to both of them, right, we'll go into a school, because we used to do some songwriting workshops. We'll go into a school. They've been doing a topic on the First World War, the River Dee or the weather or something like that, and they could write a song about anything. Just tell them and they write it. Brilliant.
Oh, that's awesome.
Come at it from a different angle. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit about the song?
So Jesus in His Pomp. I don't know whether you've heard it yet. It's kind of got a gypsy feel, Eastern European feel to it, and the idea again, that was the Terry Lloyd idea. It's just the first words, Jesus returned to form a rock and roll band. I just thought it was a great concept. If you did come back, how better to get people together than form a rock and roll band. And again, I suppose this answers a bit more advice on lockdown and making music, because it was recorded in a couple of different cupboards, 2 cupboards. And one of those cupboards was in Greg Oldfield's bedroom, which he converted into a little studio with a computer. So all the fiddles were done in there, and the saxophone and oboe and stuff with our friend John Lewis. It was done as a kind of EP, and you can even hear Louise Nulty's voice on it, because she sang backing vocals, and so that's how we did it. And that's it's just about coming together and singing songs. It's great.
That's really boss. That's really good.
Jesus returned to form a rock and roll band. Children stood together hand in hand. And man, he could really play. It was a God-given gift, they say. Lie, 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 lie.
when the writing, so Terry comes to the house and he'll have a tune, and he'll just go and he'll play us the first bit, and after we spend a couple of minutes laughing because we think it's brilliant or funny or whatever, and we're really excited. So then we open another beer, and he says, "Right, we'll try it," and it goes like this, and he always says, he says it's dead easy. It's just 3 chords, but there is a little bit in the middle, and we all go, "Oh!" And there's always strange bits in the middle, and in the middle of this one, there's that it goes, "Ooh, and we always argue about what time we should come in on it, and we've never come in at the right time ever. But there's always something like that. So that's how we do it. It just comes around and we work it through. We work it through, and we'll try different things and see what we think's best.
See, I've noticed that we have a jam session every Wednesday, and every time I come with a song to go, this is the song we're going to play today, I always find that there's always a tricky bit in the middle where I'm like, just ignore that bit. We'll work on it when we get to it.
There's always a tricky bit, and it's always a key change or something like that.
Yeah.
But we have written songs where there is literally only either 1 or 2 chords. We've made that a mission at times. We've got a song called "Lord, I'm So Tired," which is just 2 chords all the way through.
Where did you get the inspiration to write a children's book?
So it's called "Dad, You've Trumped." I mean, it came about because my youngest daughter, I think you know Poppy.
She does bar, doesn't she?
So when she was really young, I used to break wind in front of her and make excuses saying it was the door or the chair or the cupboard or the car going past. And so I surprised her one day by just using photographs of us in the book. And then a friend came along and said, I'm an illustrator. And so it's a local witness guy who's illustrated them all. His name's Christopher Dodd. And Wendy, my wife, sort of said, you've got to really try and get it published. So I was just going to leave it in a cupboard as it was, but she pushed me through. And now we've got another 2 books coming out as well. So,
that's nice.
It's just about the idea. It's all about me and my relationship with Poppy when she was young, and that secret kind of dad and daughter kind of winky, not I know what you've done kind of relationship. It was good fun.
Oh, that's lovely.
You know what you keep between you. Don't tell your mum.
Yeah. That's really lovely. What advice would you give to like young authors who also want to get books published?
If you really want to do it, write it and research it and enjoy it. There's only one person who can make it happen, and that's you. You no matter how many people say, "Oh, I'll give you a hand with that," you've still got to make the decisions and you've still got to do it. But writing a book's just writing a book. It's a bit like people saying they can't write a song. Anyone can write a song. You just got to believe it and go for it. The most satisfying thing is to have a finished piece that you've done. And if you want to illustrate it yourself, great. But you know, I've been listening to Keith read his stories, and that it's just there's no dark art behind it. It's just doing it. You've got to be. If you're going to write, you've got to write. Can't sit thinking about it.
I think that's the problem with me is every time I started writing a book where I got about 15,000 words in, something like that. I got quite a decent way in. I was like, oh, this is stupid, and then I just binned it. I just went, nah, I'm done. I think that's
you might come back to that.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's a common thing with me where every time I've tried to write something, I've gone. It's always about 1/3 through it where I go, or maybe halfway through it where I'm like, no, this is stupid. I'm just going to start something else.
We've got a mutual friend. Anyone who's listening to this might know the name Paul Sussman. We knew him as Titus. He released 4 books and did really, really well with them. One of them's been the rights to make it into a film.
Wow.
And his books are about Egypt and archaeology and things like that. And he had his first book turned down, and it was hid in a cupboard for years. And the first 4 came out, and then he died. And then they decided to publish the first one he wrote, but he never let it. What I'm saying to you, James, is he never sort of. It did dishearten him. I know it did, but he carried on writing. So I think he thought his first one was a bit silly, and it was about his time in Witness, and he invented this character, and just keep at it. That's the thing. Just keep doing
definitely.
it. And if someone has a dream and says you've got to release your book, do it. That's what I do.
Where can people find you online?
If you want to listen to the Chimps music, you can find it on Spotify, especially the EP that you're going to play the song from, or you played the song from. It's called Jesus in His Pomp. There's 4 tracks on there, and we're just about to release the latest album we recorded, which is called Hegel People. And that'll be on Spotify. And you can find me on Facebook. Poppy and Dad Books is on Facebook and on Instagram. That's something else.
I was going to say, where can people buy your book?
You can buy it at Amazon, Waterstones, all of those places. There's not any shops open at the moment, but I do intend to get it into some local shops so people can go into the local booksellers rather than just online. And I'll be making a website soon as well.
Excellent.
It's just, but that's what I've done through the lockdown. Learn how to use Instagram.
I still don't. Honestly, I didn't know how to, and I've done it a couple of times during lockdown. Still have no idea. Thank you seriously, it's been brilliant. Thank you for joining us.
No, thanks for asking me, and thanks for doing what you've been doing.
Don't worry about it.
And to everyone at the studio, because I watch what goes on all the time, and I'm not as involved as I'd love to be more involved with the studio, but I've just got so much going on. But I'm loving watching what you all do, and I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, cheers for that, Splodge.
Keep it up.
Would you like to introduce the song that we're going to play at the end?
Oh yeah, great. So okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Chimps, and the song is called Big Chief BrokenHearted. Enjoy.